What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dummy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another video. And when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, there's been back and forth aplenty, considering there are countless individuals criticizing the game, justifiably so, for the usage of Yasuke, who was not a historical samurai within feudal Japan, for the usage of wrong foliage, wrong architecture, wrong weaponry, so on and so forth of the time in this particular period of feudal Japan. There's countless examples of people having issues with this game. There's also countless examples of people being very hyped and excited for the game, which you can be excited for slop. I have no problem with that. But one of the greatest examples of this is the thing called toxic positivity, in which people will come out here and just say something's good for the sake of saying something is good because they are driven by this constant need to protect multinational corporations and billion-dollar IPs from anybody that is leveling any sort of criticism from it, i.e., stands that also peddle in this idea of toxic positivity, so much so that they cannot handle any sort of criticism to these IPs. Enter our today's subject, Assassin's Creed news. This is a massive purveyor of this current era of standship and toxic positivity, in which it doesn't matter what it is that you say or do, they will stand by Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed to the bitter end without even being given the ability to criticize it one little bit. So much so that a person like me, who really doesn't even interact with this account, has actually been blocked by them. Yeah, didn't even know they really existed. I think I've done one video on them, and that's about it. But I'm blocked by them. And I only found this out recently, considering they decided to come out here and make a statement of their own. And we come over here to Fandom Pulse. Assassin's Creed News account wants to remove grifters from gaming. Now, for the academic out there, the true definition of grifter is a person that says and does things that they don't truly believe in for the sake of social status or money. Basically, you're saying a bunch of things just for the sake of clout. But in 2025, the definition is different. It basically boils down to you're saying things I disagree with, and instead of actually tackling your positions head on and tackling your arguments head on, I'm just going to label you a grifter so I don't have to deal with you because I can't handle counter opinions. Well, we scrolled on down here because he had much more to say than just calling us grifters, mind you. He basically levied major accusations at anybody he deemed unworthy and decided to block as being nothing more than bigots. We come right here to his tweet. Enough. I've watched long enough. I'm not going to let the grifters turn my hobby into nothing. There is no room in the Assassin's Creed community for racism, misogyny, hate, agitation, lies, death threats, which he does not post receipts for the death threats. Everyone who doesn't stick to it will be blocked. It's time to reclaim gaming. Well, basically, you just established me as being nothing more than a grifter who's also a racist, a misogynist, hateful bigot. But the thing is, I'm none of those things. I have played almost every single Assassin's Creed game since the very first one. The only one I haven't played was Odyssey. But here's the thing. Okay, you have a problem with racists. So I have to ask you, Assassin's Creed News, if you do ever watch this, which you probably won't, do you remember when Ubisoft decided to come out here and issue an apology to Japan for the blatant disrespect they were giving to them? That also boiled down to just shut the hell up by the game. Yeah, speaking of racism, did you call out people like Alyssa Mercante, who just decided to declare everybody in Japan as being nothing more than racist? Or her partner in crime, Ash Parrish, who did the exact same thing and called them violently racist? Did you call them out? Because this is racism right here. This is them just blatantly attacking the people of Japan for having problems with Ubisoft for the disrespect they were receiving from the company. Did you call them out? No, you probably didn't even block them. You probably go over there and champion them all day and night for the great work that they do, lambasting gamers and attacking gamers that they disagree with on a daily basis. So the simple fact that I don't ever see you calling these two out, it leads me to believe that you are nothing more than a grifter and that you are nothing more than a liar. Because these people right here are racists. These people right here are overt racists that have declared all of Japan as being nothing more than racist cesspools that don't deserve apologies. Well, that falls under your racism. And that falls under all of this stuff. Hate, agitation, lies. That falls under at least 4 of your categories? Do you have them blocked? More than likely not. Okay, here's the thing with Assassin's Creed news. They're grifters themselves. And I know you hear this all the time, and I already said it. Basically, in the modern era, anybody that ever gets labeled grifter just means I don't want to hear your opinion, but I'm actually using the academic point. You are saying this to virtue signal the entire time. You are saying this to try to lambast any of your ideological opponents as being nothing more than these things. As being nothing more than a racist, a misogynist, people that want to spread hate and lies, and I guess apparently want to spread death threats, even though I've never seen a single death threat put out by this, and you have no evidence to back up that claim. You are just coming out here marking these people so that you don't have to engage with them and that you don't have to see a countervailing point. Because I have never done anything racist on this point. I have talked about Yasuke, yes. I've discussed how it doesn't make any logical sense to utilize him. I've discussed how the person that has given Ubisoft this idea that he was a historical samurai was lying the entire time and is nothing more than an actual political activist. So I have laid this stuff out. I have talked about this stuff. My main criticisms is the disrespect that has been given to Japan and the fact that this game looks like more Ubisoft slop. I've never said anything like this, but I'm blocked. So that must mean that I fall under this category. Because even still, when we come down here to areas, because he knows that he's screwed up here, you try to backpedal a little bit, but it doesn't really work. Responding to this dude who says, what if there are people who just don't like the fact that the company refuses to respect a culture and its history, but isn't trying to promote racism, misogyny, hate, etc.? I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. Most of the people that are against this game aren't trying to do any of this stuff. They're just pointing out the issues. He responds with, if you say it in a normal way, it is fine. What's a normal way? What's a normal way? Because according to Ubisoft, there is no normal way to do this. Because if you guys don't remember, Ubisoft decided to run to New York Times and attack anybody that is disagreeing with this game as being nothing more than a right-wing extremist. Also, in this particular New York Times article, they also cited a Japanese expert who said a lot of the people in Japan actually are in favor of this game. They don't have issues with this at all, and it's just a minority of individuals. Oh, that particular person that decided to say all that, it turns out this consultant actually worked for Sweet Baby Inc. and is a part of Sweet Baby Inc. So already you got lies on top of lies on top of lies. So I guess you yourself are gonna also have to block Ubisoft because they fell under this whole thing. They're doing all this stuff. See the problem with making statements like this? You see the problem with actually doing things like this? It starts working you back into a corner. And it also becomes really telling when you can see that he had to come out here and backtrack it even more. Guys, there seems to be a misunderstanding about this point. My whole point was to say that criticism should be expressed without racism, misogyny, etc. Still, people who mainly use these points and insult others people will be blocked. Well, I'm blocked. I haven't insulted anybody. I've just gone after Ubisoft and called out Ubisoft and talked about this game in a negative light. But we can double down again. What about the racism that Ubisoft did to Japan by utilizing the broken Torii Gate that was destroyed during the bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima? Yeah, what about this racism right here? How they just decided to use this historical monument for an art piece that was supposed to be all cutesy. Yeah, again, your standards aren't applied equally. It's why I can actually call you a grifter, because you're saying stuff you don't even believe with. You're not actually following through with your things that you are stating. You're obviously not going to block Ubisoft or Assassin's Creed. You're obviously not going to block Alyssa Mercante or Ash Parrish. You yourself are the actual academic term of a grifter and the definition of a grifter. But instead of tackling our arguments head on, you call us the grifters. You could say, I'm not calling everybody this, but you did. You did call everybody who disagrees with you nothing more than racists, bigots, monsters, people that were trying to spread death threats without any precise examples of us doing this. You just stated it as fact and walked away. And the funniest part about this is you labeled me one of these people. You came after me because you blocked me. I don't know when you blocked me, but you blocked me. All I see here is that you don't want to argue against anybody with a counterpoint than you, and you just want to spread positivity. That's an example of toxic positivity. That's an example of somebody that doesn't want to hear any negative news, anything from opposite side and wants to just block themselves off the entire time because you're scared of the opposite opinion. But the funniest thing about this is Ubisoft's in debt. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. Their stock plummeted 40% in 2024. And from Assassin's Creed's own executive producer, the game needs to sell 10 million copies just to break even. And only about 10 games every year actually sell that many copies. The chances that Assassin's Creed is actually going to sell that many copies is slim to none. But hey, gamers are going to let their voices be heard here in less than a month. We'll see what happens then. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out with friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a video live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.